Hi, this evening I'd like to show you how you can use a graph to come up with an equation by creating a table. So I'm going to start with this line right here. Now, at least I've noticed a lot of my students, they're great at coming up with equations from tables or sequences, but then sometimes you see a graph and you don't know where to start. What you want to remember is when you're looking at a graph, especially if you're given some sort of line, it's a series of points. So if you notice what I'm doing here is I'm finding the points on this particular line. Now first of all, this is a straight line. So I know the form that this equation is going to take. It's going to be y equals mx plus b. Slope-intercept form. There are a number of things I can use here. I'm going to use slope-intercept form. I could also go with this, f of x equals mx plus b. Same thing. Essentially, I'm just using function notation. So in order to find this, I need to find a few things here. Now, first of all, I'm going to figure out what ordered pairs this line is giving me. Now, I look over here. I get 1, 0. All I'm doing is I'm just naming my ordered pairs. And actually, that would be -1, 0. So I'm going to just fix that quick. Excellent. All right. Now, if I look at my next ordered pair here, 1, 2, 3, 4, I get 0, -4. And if I look at my next point here, I get +1, -8. Now, some of you might already be jumping, saying, I see a y-intercept here, but for the sake of what we're doing, we're going to use a table. All right, so I'm going to make a table out of my ordered pairs. Now, this table consists of inputs and outputs. And these inputs and outputs are grouped together as ordered pairs, as you'll see here. So I can start out with my first ordered pair here. My first input is -1. When -1 goes in, 0 comes out. Now I'll go with my next one right here. When 0 comes in, -4 comes out. And with my last point right here, when 1 comes in, -8 comes out. Now I was lucky and I got 3 points out of this. Sometimes you might only get 2. And we'll explore something like that in a little bit. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Whoops. Alright. So now I want to make my equation. Now B represents my y-intercept, or my initial value, however you want to approach it. So if I'm looking for that initial value, I can look right here. When my input is 0, my output is -4. So I get my first value that I can plug in here, -4. Now I need my slope. Now a lot of people like to go with rise over run. I like to think of it as a change in y over a change in x. It helps me a little bit down the road when I start dealing with equations and whatnot. So I'm looking at my change in output here. To get from 0 to -4, I go down -4. To get from -1 to 0, I go up +1. So my slope here is my change in y, which is -4, over +1, which is my change in x, and that becomes my coefficient. And I can simplify this. -4 over 1 simplifies to -4x minus 4. So now I got myself an equation. So using these ordered pairs, I was able to find my change in y over my change in x, or in this case my common difference, and I was able to find my initial value. This also works for exponential functions. And we're going to try one of those right now. So let's go with, oh perfect, we're going to go with 17 here. Alright, so it's an exponential function. So I know the form that this is going to take. F of x equals my initial value times, now this is going to be whatever my rate of change is. What is this rate of change? And since it's an exponential function, my input is going to be my exponent. So for this, I'm looking and I only can find really 2 clear ordered pairs. But this will be enough information for what I'm doing. So I'm going to make a table. Again, inputs and outputs. My first ordered pair here is 0, 1. My second one is 1, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to put these pairs in. Now typically we usually like to have 3 points. In this case we'll only have 2. But because I know this is an exponential function, I know that my outputs are going to be increasing by multiplication. I know it's not going to be going up by addition. If it was addition, I'd be getting some sort of straight line like this. But it's not. Since I'm getting that curve, I know that's going to be increasing by multiplication. To get from 1 to 4, I'd be multiplying by 4. So now I'm able to come up with my function. F of x is going to equal now my initial value. Always start with that. When my input is 0, my output is 1. So I'm going to represent that with the 1 here. Now my change here is times 4. And my input would be my exponent. Now I don't need the 1 here because 1 times anything will always give me itself. That's the identity property. So I can just leave this as 4 to the x power. So when you're stumped and you're looking at a graph and you know it's a linear function or you know it's an exponential function, but you don't know where to go with it, just create a table. That'll enable you to find your initial value and your rate of change. Hope this helps.